Hey everybody, it's Dana Joy back with a quick card. I wanted to show you a new way to make a great design in the back of your card without having to use designer paper. I'm really into stencils these days, so let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. I'm just going to grab some Nina Solar White cardstock and some stencils. I keep my stencils on this clip right here so I can just flip through and I don't have to take each one apart. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one here, and that one is going to be the Moroccan stars for my favorite things. So as you can see, I don't have to remove all the packaging. I just go ahead and slip out my stencil and we can go ahead and get busy. I'm going to need to tape down my cardstock so it doesn't shift on top of the paper there. So I'm just going to stick some tape down in the corners. Excuse me if I seem like I'm out of it. I have not slept in, I don't know, over 24 hours. So it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm out making a card. Story of my life these days. But anyway, back to the card. I'm going to go ahead and try to center up that stencil over the paper so I can kind of make sure I get an even coverage of, the tiles all over the panel. So I'm just going to finish putting down some of that sticky note paper. Now the colors I'm going to use are these new Memento little ink pads I got. One is Bombay Leaves and the other one is Pear Tart. So we're going to start with the Pear Tart and use a circle round dauber. Just going to grab some ink and I'm going to lightly go in from the corners. I don't like to start like right in the middle because you want to kind of build up your color. So I'm just slightly going to start off of the card first and then work my way into the center. So it's just a really light circular motion. You're just going to try to get an even coverage of the ink down. And with these circle blenders, it's so much easier than the square ones or like the little ones that you put on your fingers. If I'm going to use the little ones, I like to use those on smaller things, not doing backgrounds. So I'm going to keep the center of it a little bit lighter than the rest of the card. So now I'm going to go on with my darker green, which is the bamboo leaves. I'm going to dab off a little bit to make sure I don't get it really too thick on there at the first go around. So again, doing the same exact thing, coming in off of the edges first, grabbing a little bit more ink and pulling it down over the stencil. So you see you're going to kind of get like a gradient effect. It's going to be darker around the edges of the paper and lighter towards the middle. So I'm just going to go in and fill in the corners there. And this is such a simple and easy technique to have a custom made panel for your cards. I mean, as long as you have ink and dauber and stencils, it's endless. Totally endless with the amount of designs you can come up. And I'm a hoarder of paper, so this kind of works out good for me. I'm just going to keep going around the edges a little bit. Make sure I got everything covered. I think I just want to move a little bit inward, just a smidget more. But I'm not going to use a heavy hand on it. Okay, let's go ahead and clean that up, and then we're going to remove the stencil. Let's see what the design we have. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. See how it's lighter towards the middle and darker along the edges. So that looks good, but I'm missing a little bit at the bottom. So let me go ahead and line my stencil back up. I just want to get, I don't have it like even top and bottom, so I just need to fill in again just along that little bottom piece. So I'm just going to tack back down the stencil. That's what's so good about the stencil too. You can line it up, move it, do whatever you have to do to make sure your card comes out correct. I'm going to put one more on the paper so it doesn't shift. Okay, I'm going to grab back my colors. This isn't going to take me long. I'm just going to fill in the bottom there so the paper looks a little bit more even. I'm really liking these new little dewdrops that I picked up a couple weeks ago. I'll show you guys a comparison, a in comparison a little bit later. I'm gonna do a video on that. So I'm just gonna finish off the bottom. I have to go back in there with that darker color so it all blends. And there you go. That looks better. Just remove all this sticky stuff off. Alright, now I'm going to move on to putting the centerpiece on, but I see I have, I don't know, a little bit of residue on there, so I'm just going to take my pencil eraser and just clean that off. Alright, that looks better. Okay, now let me grab the other products that we're going to use to put this card together. Okay, I've cleared off the work area and we're going to come back and finish making this card. So it's going to be a very simple layout. I went ahead and embossed the Moroccan look on the front of the panel with one of my, I think it's a Sizzix embossing folder. So my front panel is already done. I'm going to use my Xyron tape adhesive, and I'm just going to tape it down to some basil paper. It's just like a kind of light medium color brown. I wanted to kind of keep this simple as it's going to be a guy card. And I'm actually using a sketch from the SugarPea designed sketch challenge for this week. So if you haven't joined in on the fun, you definitely want to join in, and let's see your creations using this layout. One thing I realized when I used embossing folders, when you get that indentation in the paper, I find I have to use a little bit more adhesive to keep it down and stuck to the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish that panel on there. For some reason it has a tendency to rise when you run it through the embossing folder, so I kind of want to make sure I get even coverage on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and rub pretty hard just to make sure I can get that panel to stay down. Let me zoom in a little bit. So you can see I'm taking that bone folder and I'm really getting into the corners and everything to make sure everything stays flat. Okay, now for my image, I'm going to use this adorable image from SugarPea Design. This is called Go-pher. I love this little guy. I think he's so cute. And I went ahead and used the same exact ink that I did on the back panel for his little hat, just with a brush, a watercolor brush. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my pop-up dots to pop this adorable image up on the card. I don't want it to be a flat card, so we're going to give it a little bit of dimension. And as you see in several of my videos, I really like using pop dots. I think to just add I don't know, something to your cards, I guess. Just going to put those last ones down there. And our card is almost complete. You do one more, because like I said, you never want to send a card and when the recipient gets it, you know, everything's falling apart. So I'm just going to line that little gopher up in the middle of my card. So cute. I love it. Now I'm going to use my clear Winked Stella because I forgot to color in his light at the top. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shimmer. Let me just clean my brush off, make sure I have good flow with the sparkle ink. I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in. You don't have to use too much. Okay, I think that's about good enough. A little bit in the corners. And then I also forgot the little side part to the casing of the light. So I'm just going to go and grab one of my Copic markers and just fill that in. Okay, looking good. See how cute, and see the little bit of shimmer right there at the light. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some more pop-up dots. I'm just going to put them in the four corners. Just again, so we have a little bit of dimension. Now a lot of the times though, if I'm sending something out, instead of like hand delivering it, I might make it more of a one layer card because sometimes your cards won't be able to go through the the slots at the post office and you have to add a little bit more postage. So I'm just going to center that panel onto that white card base. Okay, we are done. We finally have another card done. Look what we can achieve at 2 a.m. in the morning. Such a cute card. Well, I hope you guys had fun looking at my tutorial today. Hopefully I'll be back a little bit later in the week or next week with another video. Come join in on the fun too at SugarPea Designs. And here is a look at my card, the finished card. Hope you guys like it. Don't forget to follow me on my Facebook page and subscribe to me on my YouTube channel. Have a great day, everybody.